It's Friday, January 17th, and this is now on HNN.
No Americans were harmed.
Nearly a dozen U.S. soldiers were injured in that Iranian airstrike last week. I'm Skylar Henry at the White House with what we're learning about their injuries.
Authorities in the Philippines remain on high alert for a possible explosive volcanic eruption. We'll have an update.
Plus, federal investigators have released new information about a deadly plane crash on Molokai.
We're going to vote on that at the appropriate time after we listen to the argument.
The president expands his legal defense team ahead of his impeachment trial. I'm Natalie Brand on Capitol Hill with who's on it and what senators will debate next week.
These stories, and we'll celebrate Betty White's birthday coming up on This Is Now. Hey everyone, thanks for watching This Is Now on this Friday, Aloha Friday. We're going to start the news off today with an important story that honestly I feel like hasn't been getting a lot of coverage, so that's why we're going to lead our newscast with it today. Lacey, what can you tell us?
U.S. health officials have announced they will begin screening airline passengers from central China for a new virus that is making people sick. People traveling from Wuhan, China will have their temperature checked and be asked about symptoms. David Culver has more from Beijing.
Growing concerns across Asia as the new coronavirus is being blamed for a second death right here in China. Now other Asian countries are on high alert and they're working to identify new cases of the illness. Health officials say the so-called Wuhan Coronavirus, named for the region in China in which it's believed to have originated, has killed 2 people in the central China city and infected at least 41. The most recent death happened late Thursday night. Health officials say the 69-year-old man got sick on New Year's Eve and tested positive for the pneumonia-like coronavirus, dying 2 weeks later. Chinese scientists say the illness is in the same family as the deadly severe acute respiratory syndrome, known as SARS, but they advise it does not appear nearly as lethal. Symptoms of the coronavirus can range from fever and coughing to kidney failure. At least 3 other cases have surfaced outside of China, 1 in Japan, and 2 now confirmed in Thailand. Local health officials in Thailand tell CNN the discovery was made following heightened screenings at airports. World Health Organization is warning that the illness could spread and is alerting hospitals worldwide. This comes as millions of people are expected to travel for the Lunar New Year holidays next week. David Culver, CNN, Beijing.
Certainly a story we're going to stay on top of. Another one we've been following since the beginning is that volcano in the Philippines.
Yeah.
I know, dramatic footage all week long we've been seeing there. I want to show you the latest footage right now. Let me pull it up for us. Here we go, the latest video into our newsroom. What we're seeing here is just more smoke billowing, not as intense as in past days. We're on day 6 of this eruption of the tall volcano. Again, it does look a little bit weaker, that ash and steam coming from the volcano. Again, on the 6th day. While it may seem like a lull, officials are saying we are not out of the woods yet. The danger is still real. They are not allowing villagers to go back to that area. They're still imposed at evacuation zones. There's still a massive cleanup going on right now as well because of all that ash we're seeing in this video right now. Literally a resident just taking a garden hose to his property, having to wash off that muddy mess. It's just just imagine if it snowed ash everywhere all over your town. That's what's happened basically.
And everyone breathing that in as well.
Yeah, imagine the respiratory issues. Again, they're saying they're on a level 4, and that's just the second highest warning level there, officials say, and they say that means there's still a great possibility of another eruption. Again, we're going to stay on top of that, keep giving you updates on the story because we know a lot of you have interest in what's happening in the Philippines. Another thing we're going to keep following is the developments coming out of the Middle East.
Nearly a dozen American troops were injured when Iran launched missiles at a pair of Iraqi military bases. President Trump and other leaders had said no one was hurt in the January 8th attack. CBS's Skylar Henry reports from the White House.
The Pentagon has revised its casualty assessment after Iran's retaliatory missile strike on 2 bases in Iraq. It was initially reported no U.S. troops were killed or injured, even though the bases took several direct hits. And it's what President Trump said the next day.
No Americans were harmed in last night's attack by the Iranian regime. We suffered no casualties, All of our soldiers are safe.
But now, U.S. Central Command says 11 service members suffered concussions in the attacks. They were removed from Iraq for treatment, 8 going to Germany, the others to Kuwait. Each is being monitored for signs of traumatic brain injury and other symptoms. Doctors say concussion symptoms can take days to become apparent. The White House has not commented on the new information. A U.S. military spokesman said the injured soldiers had been, quote, in the vicinity of a blast. He added that all of them are expected to return to their posts in Iraq once they're determined fit for duty. Some soldiers who were at the base told CBS News they had little warning and had just minutes to take cover before the missiles landed. Most took cover in bunkers that were not designed to withstand the force of a ballistic missile strike. Skylar Henry, CBS News, the White House.
Jury selection in Harvey Weinstein's rape trial concluded today after an arduous 2-week process, setting the stage for testimony to begin in the next week. The lawyers and judge halted the selection process after 12 jurors and 3 alternates had been seated. The main jury has 7 men and 5 women. 3 alternates were also chosen. The final tally mostly erased a gender imbalance. Hours earlier, that led to complaints by prosecutors that the defense was deliberately trying to keep young women off the panel. Weinstein is charged with raping a woman and sexually assaulting another woman. He has pleaded not guilty and said any sexual activity was consensual.
All right, more entertainment news, from the entertainment world, right?
Eminem's surprise new album, Music to Be Murdered By, includes a call for expanded gun control and for people to register to vote to change America's gun laws. On Friday, the rapper dropped a music video for Darkness, a single from the album. The video recreates the 2017 Las Vegas mass shooting from the gunman's point of view. 58 people were killed in the massacre. The part of the shooter is played by both Eminem and an actor. The video ends with a wall of TV sets in the shape of America, showing images related to gun violence and mass shootings in recent years. Then a card on screen poses the question, when will this end? And the answer, when enough people care.
And I haven't actually heard from him in a while, but that's a very controversial title there. Music to Be Murdered By. I'm sure that's going to create quite the buzz online. We're seeing his posts there on social media from earlier today. All right, moving on. We got to get to that impeachment news.
The pretrial proceedings in President Trump's impeachment trial are officially underway in the Senate. It began Thursday with the reading of the charges and swearing in of senators as jurors. It resumes Tuesday with Chief Justice John Roberts presiding over just a 3rd impeachment trial in the nation's history. Natalie Brand has the latest from Capitol Hill.
As House impeachment managers and President Trump's attorneys prepare for next week's opening arguments, Democrats are still calling for new witness testimony to be part of the trial.
You cannot have a trial without witnesses.
For witnesses to appear, it would take agreement from all the Senate Democrats and at least 4 Republicans. Senate Republicans Lisa Murkowski, Susan Collins, and Mitt Romney have all indicated they might support that.
We're going to vote on that at the appropriate time after we listen to the arguments.
House Democrats say new evidence continues to emerge that helps their case that the president pressured Ukraine to announce an investigation into the Bidens.
I should be their number 1 witness because I'm the one that got all the dirt.
Former Trump donor and indicted businessman Lev Parnas says he was the man President Trump and his personal attorney, Rudy Giuliani, entrusted with getting Ukraine to announce the investigation.
President Trump knew exactly what was going on.
I don't know him at all.
Friday morning, President Trump added several new members to his legal defense team, including constitutional attorney Alan Dershowitz and Ken Starr, the independent counsel in the investigation that led to President Clinton's impeachment.
We can take whoever wants to come.
Impeachment was on the president's mind when he invited members of LSU's championship football team to the Oval Office.
We'll take pictures behind the Resolute desk. It's been there a long time, a lot of presidents, some good, some not so good. But you got a good one now, even though they're trying to impeach the son of a bitch. Can you believe that?
There are 53 Republicans in the 100-seat Senate. It would take 67 votes to convict the president and remove him from office. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Washington.
Federal investigators have released new information about a deadly plane crash on Molokai. In December of 2017, Bill and Lynn Vogt were flying home when the married couple's plane went down on Molokai Ranch. The wreckage was located a little over 3 miles southwest of the runway. Light rain and mist were reported the morning of the crash, with visibility of about 6 miles. Now, the pilot did not indicate any problems in his communications with the airport tower. His last comments were that he had, quote, pretty good visibility. Investigators say there was no indication of any mechanical issues prior to impact with the ground. The final report from the National Transportation Safety Board is expected sometime next month.
All right, moving on. I want to get to a different story. There's been a rediscovery of a World War II bomber plane here on the islands, and Jim Mendoza has filed a story about that. I want to let you guys share, or I want to share with you what he reported on. Here we go.
Crystal clear video shows the submerged remains of a World War II aircraft. The Grumman TBF Avenger crashed after colliding with another aircraft during a training flight in 1942.
We were able to relocate that site and document it.
Sonar located the torpedo bomber 3 miles off the Kaneohe coastline at a depth of 300 feet. Scientists used a 4K camera on a submersible vehicle to survey the site.
Right through that camera lens, boom, it looks like you could almost take and fly it.
Its wings, cockpit, tail section, and engine are all still there.
This mission in particular was very special because it was on U.S. soil.
Another 20 south.
Project Recover worked with other organizations to gather the video and photographs that will be used to build a three-dimensional model of the aircraft.
It's sitting upright as it would be on a carrier deck or on the runway.
The Defense Department's POW-MIA accounting agency will decide whether recovery of remains is possible. The Avenger's three-man crew is listed as missing in action.
The final end goal of where we are involved in this program is really to bring closure for families that have lost loved ones associated with foreign conflicts and wars.
More than 80 MIA cases worldwide are ready for recovery, thanks to Project Recover's work. The group hopes to find the other aircraft involved in the 1942 accident.
Hopefully sometime in the future we'll be able to do some further exploration and discover that site.
Jim Mendoza, Hawaii News Now.
We got some news happening downtown right now. It's sort of creating a traffic situation. It won't be lasting long. Tell us what's going on.
Thousands of people are marching to Iolani Palace right now to mark the 127th anniversary of the overthrow of the Hawaiian monarchy. The overthrow commemoration comes as Native Hawaiians continue to fight for rights. Leaders within the Native Hawaiian community are calling for increased land rights, cultural preservation, and recognition. Events will take place at Iolani Palace all afternoon.
All right, we were just showing you the traffic cam footage of the marchers, and again, there expect some delays for just a few more moments because now we're looking at a live video feed from our vantage point here at the Digital Center. We're actually looking right at the Capitol, right by the palace, and I am starting to see over the last few minutes more of those marchers starting to show up there. So once they all gather there, all that traffic situation will be relieved, and the events will go on there at the palace, as you mentioned, all afternoon. So let's get a check of what the weather is going to be out there for them and for all of us the rest of the weekend. Here's Guy Hoggy.
How's it on this Aloha Friday? I'm Guy Hoggy with your HawaiiNewsNow.com forecast. We're watching this front as it progresses through the state. It's dropping some scattered showers, some prefrontal showers over on Maui heading to the Big Island, and there are likely more showers coming from Kauai moving down the island chain as that front moves through. And as that front moves through, we'll have some stronger north-northeasterly winds. Already, they're affecting parts of Maui County all the way to Kauai. They'll get quite breezy today, and because they're coming in from the north, the surf conditions up in the country will be sloppy, choppy, and to a large extent unrideable. Also, those northerly winds bring in a little bit of a chill. So temperatures today running into the low 80s. Don't expect to see a lot of sunshine. It's going to be very cloudy, but the drier conditions moving into Kauai by the afternoon, and slowly that front should clear up for most of the state by tomorrow, although it might linger over in the Big Island tomorrow. So we're checking a new north-northwest swell. It's going to get bigger throughout the day, 8 to 12 by the time the sun goes down. But because of the northerly winds, it's going to be choppy, sloppy, and beat up. Better conditions down on the west side. Again, this was coming up later in the day. And we got some clean conditions in town, even though it's going to only be running about 1 to 3. So cloudy, damp, and cool today. Drier conditions with stronger winds due tomorrow. And then we're in for a nice long stretch of the best weather on the planet. Keep it here on Hawaii News Now. We'll have all your severe weather updates.
Oh, thanks, Guy. Hey, let's move on to a story I love talking about. I'm really enjoying seeing the Olympics literally come together in Japan, right?
Yes.
And we have a new update regarding that.
Yes, the first process of installing giant Olympic rings in Tokyo got underway today.
Cool.
The 5 interlocking rings were pulled across Tokyo Bay by a tugboat near the city's Rainbow Bridge. The huge Olympic rings will be installed at a marine park in Tokyo Bay. That's also the site of the marathon swimming and triathlon events at this year's games. The rings are built in Yokohama and were moved to Tokyo on a barge. The rings are 107 feet long and 50 feet wide.
That's huge.
That
it really
is
And
humongous.
we're looking at the video of it happening right here for our podcast listeners.
Wow.
And these rings are the size of a barge. That's how big these Olympic rings are.
It must be so cool to be on the streets though and seeing this
I
on the
know.
tugboat going
Look,
through.
honey, there's Olympic rings.
I know.
I know. And I can't wait to see it set up. Again, I love following the progress as it all gets underway there. Remember, KHNL, your Olympic station.
Exciting.
We'll be bringing it to you this summer on HNN. All right, let's keep up with the sports news, Lacey. What's happening here at home?
Some of the best Polynesian football players are on Oahu, gearing up to take the field tomorrow night for the Polynesian Bowl.
Yeah.
If you want to check out the game, it starts at 7 p.m. Tickets available on Ticketmaster on sunrise this morning. This was really cool.
I
We
love
got
this.
the chance to speak with former St. Louis Crusader and Alabama standout Tua Tagovailoa.
We're here at Campbell High School. Tua Tagovailoa is here. Brother, welcome back.
Thank you guys for having
How does it feel to be here with all of these kids here and being able to talk story with them?
me. Well, it's awesome. You know, this is the community that I grew up in. I was raised in this community. I had a lot of friends growing up from elementary, to intermediate. So, I train with a lot of these guys that are here too, and I train some of them that are here. So, it's awesome to be able to come back and just share, I guess my success story from, a place like this.
I saw you walk in and I see a lot of smiles, a lot of familiar faces to you as they come in and walk and smile and shake hands. What's the message that you're going to give to these guys today?
Well, probably with what everyone said, but I think it's just the truest thing, is, you get what you put in, from Ever Beach, there's not much we have here, a lot of the kids here after football games, at Campbell, they usually go to Zippy's or they just go across the street to 7-Eleven and eat, so we don't have that much. And then we're just relaxing with our friends, and so, you get what you put in, and anything is possible for a kid that comes from any place on this island,
How long are you going to be able to stay here at home? What's coming up next?
Yeah, well, just a lot of business meetings. I've been having a lot of business meetings, just focusing more on my rehab, my therapy, and then once everything is cleared for me to be able to go out and do what I want to do medically, then that's when we get the ball rolling. Hopefully February will start to be the point where the ball gets rolling and we can start to do footwork, throwing again, leading up to pro day and then eventually the draft.
I appreciate a couple of minutes talking story with you. I know there's a lot that you got to do here, but there must be a general appreciation amongst people from Polynesian background and Hawaii background. Have you been able to talk with some of the other people that are here with the Polynesian Bowl?
Yeah, I've got to build relationships with guys like Jesse Sapolu, Matanu Vasa, Vaisika Hema. All these guys, Jack Thompson, throwing some more, and guys who have paved the way for, our people, and they just paved the way for the next generation, and that's what, I feel like our job is to do as well. They led the way, now it's our turn to lead the way, prepare for the next generation as well.
One final question, I'll let you go. Thoughts on your brother?
Man, he got to work, that's all it is, just like anyone else, that's how life is going to be, you're not going to be given anything, unless you have a big name or something, but then I think even when you have a big name, it brings out who you are too, your character, your morals, you just got to work,
Awesome. So much to look forward ahead coming from Tua there. Heading to the NFL draft soon.
So exciting.
Yeah, he said he's got some business deals, or working on some business deals, maybe a shoe deal?
Perhaps.
Yes.
The sneaker industry that does bring in billions of dollars every year. Well, most
Lacey,
people...
you know what? I totally messed up and I didn't load that story.
Oh.
Sorry, guys.
Well,
Sorry.
It does bring in a lot of money.
Yes. We'll bring you that shoe story tomorrow.
And you know what? Maybe
on Monday.
Business deals, you can just come in on Sunrise more often and hang out with us.
Exactly. But you know what we can't talk about?
What can we talk about?
A very important birthday.
Oh,
Very important.
I love this story.
Yeah, Betty White turning 98. Oh, very cool. Everyone loves her. How can you not love this American royalty here? You know, she first came to fame in the 1970s when she appeared on the Mary Tyler Moore Show, first as a guest star and then as a recurring character. But everyone remembers her as Rose from the Golden Girls, you know? But you know, I looked this up right before we came in here. She actually got her start in television. Guess what year? Just guess.
I don't know.
Okay. 1939, folks.
1939?
No one even had a TV back then. It was an experimental LA station, and that's where she got her start. You know, Betty has once said, "I'm the luckiest old broad with 2 feet, on 2 feet." Well, you know what, Betty? We're the lucky ones. We love you, and happy birthday.
Oh, she is the sweetest.
Yeah. And we had a big musical guest this morning on Sunrise too, right?
Yep, we did. Maxi Priest himself, and here's a little preview of him.
Yeah, we'll end you with this today, folks. You guys have a good weekend and enjoy the music.
Friday.
They do to me, I'm alright. Yeah, come on. I don't care what they say about me, I'll be fine.